Let's talk about demand, and let's talk about demand in the short to medium term, specifically as far as the US is concerned. While I think it's clear now that we're not talking about a hard landing anymore and the talk of recession is over, but what are you seeing in terms of consumer sentiment, in terms of discretionary spending, and what's the outlook over the short to medium term?
I think in the US will go through this year, a transition year, as we sort of come out of COVID, come out of all the the money and everything else that the consumers had. And so this year is a transition here that'll lead to more normalization of the consumer environment in the US. As far as our demand goes, which I can speak to more specifically, if you look at our loyal customers continue to frequent us very often. They continue to trade up, they continue to customize what they do. Be very good about the strength of the brand with our loyal customers. And I fully expect that as the environment normalizes over time, we will continue to see growth in a market like the US for us. We are underpenetrated in the US. We are underpenetrated in the US, even though we have 16,000 stores. And I think the opportunity for us to grow in the US too is high.
When you talk about the theatrics in the front and using
the theater, not the theatrics,
theater,
yes.
and the stuff that goes on at the back end,
the factory in the back,
the factory at the back end, and the digitization that's helping keep the factory moving along. What kind of spends do you expect on the digitization front, and what is that going to translate into? What are the changes that you're making both at the front as well as the back end, and the results that you're seeing on account of that already?
I think part of what I saw working in the stores is I actually got a very visceral feeling for what we were doing well and what we could do better. We don't get it right all the time. We just don't. I mean, we're 460,000 humans, and there are mistakes that we make at times or things that we could do better. So I think if I look at the ability for us with a factory at the back, as we think about the supply chain and what we can do to drive productivity, how technology can actually enable us in doing that, we're already beginning a lot of work in that space. In China, you already see us having made material progress in that. And it is something we'll do in the US, but also do in other markets. Technology plays a big enabler in this. It plays an enabler for us in farming and how we think about actually driving crop productivity in a sustainable manner. It's about how we organize the supply chain. It's about how we get product to where it's needed. Technology plays a big role also in the theater in the front, how we connect with customers, how we give them an experience that is seamless. So there's work and investment going in both areas. And the best way to think of it is that we need to take away money from things that don't create a lot of value and put a lot more money into things that could, very simply put.
So where are you taking the money out of?
Well, for example, on the supply chain side, we see a lot of potential for us to be far better at what we do, how we buy, what we buy, how we flow, how we ensure products are available, the inventory that we have in various places, improvements that we can make there. That tees up money, and that helps us actually make investments, including in areas like technology. But even in technology, there are things that we can do differently. There are savings that we can get in terms of, how we actually take money away from run and put more money into innovate. And we're working through the architecture, the investments we make at the app layer, how we bring AI into the equation. We built an AI platform for the last 5 years. We call it Deep Brew, that actually powers a lot of what we do at Starbucks. And it's a artificial intelligence machine learning platform. With Gen AI coming in, that's going to get powered up even more. So I think we have the ability with technology to really support the growth ambitions of the business. You saw us make an announcement of a partnership with Microsoft, a partnership with Apple for some of the Apple products that we use, as well as a partnership with Amazon for some of the payment systems that we have for the US. So I think those are things that we're using anyway, but the thought very much is that technology can play a big enabler in how we make our factory at the back better, while really enabling the theater at the front.
You talked about the legacy of the past 50 years, and you talked about how the brand is going to evolve. In terms of where you see the brand and its positioning, how much of that do you believe is likely to change given the dynamics that are changing in the marketplace? You've now got artisanal brands, you've got VC-funded, a whole plethora of brands, including here in India. Where do you see Starbucks fitting in? How do you see the brand positioning changing, if at all?
So first of all, the brand is iconic because of the fact that what it stands for is in some ways timeless. When you stand for human connection, it's timeless. And so there's different manifestation of how this brand can appear, right? We have a Starbucks Reserve brand that actually plays at the higher end and provides a very different set of experiences.
Is that going to be a priority in terms of growth and accelerating the expansion on that front?
I don't think it's a priority for growth per se, but it's clearly a priority for us in terms of how we set the brand, the experiences that it provides, We have one reserve store in India right now in Fort in Bombay. We're going to open a second next year. If you look at the US, we have the Roastery, which is a destination for experiences that we provide. So beyond the brand, which is a timeless positioning, clearly what we do with innovation, how we digitally connect with customers, how we ensure that we deliver a consistent experience worldwide, there's still so much headroom. I understand that there'll be others that come in that may have a different proposition, but what I think about very much is how do we scale this? And how do we do this at scale in the 38,000 or 55,000 stores we have worldwide? If we did it more consistently, the opportunities are even more apparent to us.
So what will be the growth regions that you are going to be focused on? Of course, you talked about India as being one of the growth markets that you will invest a lot of your time, energy and money in. But outside of India, which are the markets that you're going to be focused on to drive the expansion and growth?
Shereen, you'll be amazed. When you look at our brand and you look at where it is, there's headroom in every market. Everybody said Japan is a slow-growing market. We have 2,800 stores in Japan. And the number of stores in Japan is going to increase even further just because of what we have. We have some really beautifully crafted stores in Japan. And it does a phenomenal job in bringing the coffee culture into Japan. So Japan is a growth market in that sense, if you see what I'm saying. But the rest of the world, we're underpenetrated. We're underpenetrated in Western Europe. We have opportunities in the Middle East. In Africa, we're not even really present in many markets. Latin America, there's real headroom too. So everywhere you look, there's possibilities. So what we're trying to do is ensure that we build the capabilities, we build a global mindset, we build the supply chain, we build the capabilities around store and store development, and we build 4,000 stores worldwide every year. Every single store is designed by us. It's unique, it's different, and it's important for it to be so. So we don't have a cookie cutter model to this. But in order to do that, we can also do this with scale with technology. So that's going to be the focus. So there's growth potential everywhere. We're building the capabilities to support that.
In India specifically, you talked about the joint venture with the Tatas and what you're intending to do more on the procurement side. More JVs, more partnerships, more collaboration here in India that you would explore? And what has been the big learning from this particular joint venture?
I think if you look at Starbucks, one of the secret sauces is how the culture has in some ways diffused globally across all its stores, but it hasn't been done in the way that you normally think about it, hard-edged and top-down. Starbucks is a right-brained company. And because it's a right-brained company, people, relationships really matter at scale. And it's the reason why you see we spend more time in the front line in stores. One of the things about Starbucks is, unlike some of the other companies, which are more left-brained, when you go into a company that's more left-brained, you morph to what that company is. In a company like ours, which is right-brained, people come in and they tell you their story. And what they tell you is, I'm bringing my story into the company. Now together, let's make something more powerful. It's actually quite unique. Now, when you think about that and start saying, what could this really lead to? It can lead to massive growth. Now, we've chosen geographic partners very carefully, and it's been driven by fit, values fit. We have a partner in the Middle East, Al Shaya Group out of Kuwait. It's 25 years with them. Same thing with Latin America and Europe. Here too with the Tatas. Cultural fit really matters to us. So when we create geographic partners, we do it for the really long term. We're not in the process of changing every 3 years. We just don't do that. Now we have collaborations that we do with artists. If you look at Blackpink, which is a K-pop group across the Asia Pacific, great collaboration with them. We have one with Manish Malhotra that's coming out, I think, in the next couple of weeks here in India. And I think you'll see us play more of those as we think about going into lifestyle, what we do. We did, something in Milan with the Milan Fashion Show. We've done.
Are you likely to be much more of a lifestyle company going forward, or much more of a lifestyle brand going forward?
This brand, when you talk about human connection, it's a brand that it can actually appeal to a lot. And it really is a kindness, joy-driven brand. It's not driven by all this crap that you read on social media, the disinformation and all of it that exists. It is genuinely built around this idea of human connection. So you can see us elevate the brand, and you can see us where it goes. We just did a partnership with Oprah Winfrey around the idea of the color purple, which we launched over Christmas. That's what this brand is about. We're trying to bring human connection to bear, and we'll use that in a way through various interpretations of it in terms of what the brand could be.
You know, I heard you ask your team here to give you advice. What do they have to say to you?
Well, first of all, they wanted me to work more with them, which is great, thank you, and I intend to do that, and I like that. They gave me some ideas around sizing, around what we could do to make our products more accessible. You know, we've launched Pico, which is a size in India for the first time, and actually it's one that I think people can try our products and get into the brand, so to speak, in a more accessible manner. I've had other feedback around, and this really shows me the ambition of young India. The ambition of young India is remarkable. There are, 40% of our baristas are women. We have women-only stores. And when I look at the worker participation of women in India, it's really an opportunity.
No feedback on the chai latte?
I think, well, there was a lot of feedback on the chai latte. I even saw the Spider-Man movie where they put that in the script. I'm like, really?
Well, Laxman, it's been an absolute pleasure. Many thanks for joining us. We wish you the very best of luck here in India and, of course, with Starbucks globally. Look forward to seeing more of you back home.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming here to my hometown.
My pleasure.
And really, this is my hood.
It is your hood, and it's good to be here in your hood experiencing Starbucks with you. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Shereen. Thank you for
That's
coming.
a wrap on this edition of Global Dialogue from all of us here on the team. For now, goodbye, and thanks very much for watching.